No, 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 no. Gosh, I hope we're recording that. ABR.
Did you see the Batman Lego movie?
Yeah.
Was it any good? Because I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, not.
No.
It's awesome.
I was waiting for it to come out on DVD.
Yeah, it's taken forever, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, everything else seems to have come out on DVD. It's got to be close.
I said to that about Helen, to Helen about that. So I was like, it's still out on DVD, and she was like, no. It's like, been ages.
I feel bad for not going to see it because I didn't go to see the Lego movie at the cinema.
It was really, really
And I regretted that when I finally got round to seeing the Lego movie. I thought, this is fucking awesome. Because I picked it up as a joke just to see what everyone else was going on about. Because I didn't have any faith in it whatsoever. No. But it was so good.
Batman's potentially better. Because you've got all that, but then you've got Batman as well. And it's just absolutely...
this weird...
astoundingly awesome.
This weird, arrogant version of Batman.
Oh, but there's so many lovely... It's like, you can tell from watching it that it's made by people who just love everything to do with it.
I could tell that...
There's so many little homages and little nods to stuff and just... It's all this tapestry of everything Batman.
I could tell that just from the first trailer that I saw where he's sort of talking to his the portrait of his parents. And then he accidentally beats the crap out of Alfred. And then Alfred goes on about all these periods in his history where he's sort of sank into these points of melancholy. He's essentially just references all of the movies up until he gets to the Adam West. And then there was that weird bit in the 60s.
There's a lovely bit, like right at the beginning, where the Joker's attacking this plane at the start, and they reference the 89 Batman movie. It's absolutely lovely. Like, actually talk about it in the conversation. It's absolutely awesome. I was like, this is genius already. I'm about 2 minutes in.
It's got to be out on DVD soon.
Good. I know. I got the art book. The making of it was like £5 or £6 or something.
Wouldn't that essentially just be like
and it's
a bunch of photos of Lego?
No. It's all the designs and all the concept art and everything.
Which they then turned into Lego.
Yeah. And they have a whole section at the end about how they did that and all the stuff that was done. Because I had to make stuff bespoke for it as well. Because like everything was designed to actually function as Lego. And there's stuff like Harvey Dent's hair is like really complex. They had to invent a whole way of manufacturing it so that it could be these two-tone things that were fit together and stuff. It's nuts. It's really interesting. It's really interesting how they work so closely with Lego and stuff. And like,
they'll need to for the merchandise.
And with Warner and stuff as well. It's lovely. But it's really nice because it isn't like the guys in the book and stuff are saying about how it wasn't, because of what it isn't constrained by the canon of all the other stuff, so it can kind of reference the comics and the films and be its own.
Basically, it can be a fun little entity that
it's just Batman in a completely different context.
It has to be like
exactly. Well, actually, and it's just kind of lovely because of that. It's like it's almost like a big celebration of everything that you love about Batman. It's just
the original Lego movie was kind of a proof of concept because Batman was a primary character in that, so that was sort of proof of concept about how people like that character. So I guess that probably gave them a lot of freedom.
It is seriously stonking. You need to watch it. Absolutely brilliant.
I intend to, as soon as they release the damn thing. Mind you, by the time people hear this, it'll probably be out.
Yes, it'll probably out now.
When I was out in Australia, there was, most recently, I ended up at a Lego exhibition.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't like a Lego exhibition where it was all built by professionals. It was a bunch of amateur Lego builders and stuff.
Oh, wow.
With different age ranges, from like, kids up to proper collectors and stuff. And they each had a little table and they displayed their creations and stuff there. And some of them, the amount of Lego that we got, there was this absolutely massive space station that I saw, which was like 3 to 4 tiers. It rotated on its own.
Wow.
But its ultimate height was higher than I was.
Wow.
And each floor had its own little diorama thing going on inside. I was thinking the amount of, how much money did you spend on Lego to build this thing?
That's bonkers.
And then there was a full, I honestly can't remember if it was an Ewok village or an Elven village.
Yeah.
Or a merge of
some kind of Village in the trees.
But yeah, and every single tree was built out of Lego.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'd been younger, I would have been looking on it enviously, thinking, "Oh, I built some Lego." Then. I did buy. I had to buy a box of Lego before I left. Because I mean, I used to go to these things all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I say all the time. Anytime there was one passing through Brisbane.
Yeah, sure.
We'd get taken along to one. And my mum always dreaded the tail end of it because she knew that a bunch of kids would want Lego. So she had to buy these tiny little boxes of Lego for us.
Still buy it. Helen just got me the 1960s, the 1969 Batman Batcave, which is like huge. It's colossal. Yeah, it's like the entire Batcave with like the original 60s car and all the characters and everything.
We've still
it's so awesome.
My mum's still got all of our old Lego up in the loft somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a bunch of different toys and stuff which she just flat out refused to get rid of from our
Yeah,
childhood
sure.
and stuff. And Lego was one of them, probably for the expense because it cost a fortune. But there's only one bit of Lego which I really want at the moment, and that's the little spaceman guy. From the actual movie. Because I swear to God, I've got a blue spaceman somewhere in the loft.
So good because it was like everyone who watched it went, I had that one with the cracked helmet. Yeah, everybody had the cracked.
I've got the cracked
Everybody's
helmet
did that. That's
It's like
when I saw that in the movie, I was like, that is so spot on because all the helmets did that from that period. The little bit in the middle of the chin thing would just split.
It's like that and G.I. Joes with no thumbs.
Yeah.
Those are the two staples of 80s kids' toys. There's always a weak point in the big name toys.
Spaceman, the helmet was good. And they had to develop a whole series of software to add scratches to them and stuff, so that it would look realistic, like all the little buffs and dents and.
When you got a close up of their faces, you realised, oh crap, they're actually emulating the print as well. The print itself of like the eyes and the mouth, that's textured.
Yeah.
That was textured in just the same way that it appears on the actual Lego
itself. It just
itself.
doesn't look like CG to the point where
I thought it was stop
like,
motion
is
to
this
start
stop mo? I just don't know what I'm looking at.
I thought it was stop motion to start with, and then I saw the amount of stuff that was going on. I was thinking, no, good God, no, they couldn't. I mean, Aardman would sort of look at this and have a heart attack if they tried to do it.
The detail in like motion. Gotham City and stuff, when you see that, is just insane. To the point of like things that you don't even notice there's so much stuff. Like when I got the art book and was looking through them, it's like we got these big pictures of like the streets, and you can see all the detail of the stuff that they've put on, like posters on the walls and like burned out cars and all this. There's just tons and tons of detail. You're just like, that is mental for like a 2-second shot. It's absolutely mental.
I'm not a fan of the Lego games themselves.
Yeah, sure.
But I did pick up the one of the Batman ones.
Yeah.
And the opening to that, just because it's got the Elfman score in the background, I could just watch that opening bit again and again and again.
One of them, I think it's the first one, has its own rendition of like the animated series opening. That's how it opens.
Oh, that was
with the two guys running across the roof, and Batman comes down and beats the crap out of it.
But it's all in Lego.
Like, it's all in Lego. It's just like with the Danny Elfman score and everything. And I think the menu's just him stood on top of a building with his cape going. It's just gorgeous. It's so good. But I think one of the moments that I absolutely proper nerded out was the end of that game. The last level is the cathedral. You fight the Joker in Gotham Cathedral, and they use the music from the '89 film for the whole thing. And it's literally like I was hopping about because I was like, it's my favourite bit from like the entire thing.
And they kept
that whole bit and the music and everything about it. It's just, and I was like, oh my God.
I love it when they use the music
the
properly.
Joker and Harley Quinn in this like humongous Lego Gothic cathedral, and all the music and everything is just like.
I really, really love it when they use the old musical cues and stuff. I mean, I've loved it ever since like The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones' The Last Crusade, where you hear the theme tune from the Ark. When they find the graffiti on the wall.
Yeah.
Ever since that moment, I've always...
He goes, what is that? And he goes, Ark of the Covenant. It's like, are you sure?
Pretty sure. So I've always listened out for musical cues and stuff that nod back to previous works and stuff. There's another Lego game which you were playing.
Sorry, before we move off that, there's a lovely bit in the intro movie to the remake of Battlestar Galactica, the TV show, where they have like a fly past of all the original ships because they're getting rid of the Battlestar, they're closing it down, and as a fanfare they use the original music from the show. I was like, that's so cool. It's such a lovely little nod because it sounds like the right kind of like military sort of fanfare, but it's also this lovely sort of nod back to the original show. It's so cool.
They did that at the very last episode. It wasn't a great series, but Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh yeah.
The final shot of that is a montage of the 3 different ships.
Wow.
And I think that's probably the only time you actually hear the Star Trek fanfare start to kick in.
Cool.
And I just love that.
I know.
When they use the music properly and stuff.
Yeah, because the music is the emotion in film. It's that. It's the feelings that that aren't being said. When you read a book, you read a comic, you can get that internal dialogue, that internal thought process, but you don't usually get that in film. And music kind of fills that in. It gives you that, what they're feeling and what they're thinking when they're not doing, or showing it. Blade Runner is a key example of that. Because like a large portion of that film is like Harrison Ford staring out of a window with whiskey in his hand. Yeah. And it's...
Well, I say silent, no one speaks.
Yeah. But without, like, and the Vangelis score just gives you all of that, that he's thinking and feeling all this complex shit.
It's that trippy synth stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
It's lovely. It's really beautiful. It's like it would be the dullest film in the world without the music. And it just changes it all,
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons I mostly listen to film scores and stuff. Not just because I like the film that it's from,
no,
but because orchestral pieces are way more emotive than stuff with lyrics in it.
Potentially, yeah.
And if you're crafting, or if you're trying to come up with a sequence in your head of events for a narrative that you like,
totally.
Listening to purely instrumental stuff, will inspire you way more than if you're listening to something with lyrics. Because lyrics, you focus on the lyrics, you focus on what's being said. It's like
totally.
It's like listening to a story.
Yeah, completely.
But if it's just instrumental, you're coming up with the story yourself.
Yeah, completely.
So,
I agree on that.
Yeah, if I'm brainstorming anything...
I always try and find music that
put a bit of Hans Zimmer
feels
on.
Like the scene or whatever. If you're writing an action scene or something, I'll put some dramatic stuff on, and you find that it gives you that pace to the sequence and stuff.
I mean, especially it's easy if you have an encyclopedic knowledge of movies and stuff, because you know exactly which movie to go for.
Yeah, totally.
And to listen to the soundtrack for that.
Many years buying movie soundtracks, and I have quite a few.
Yeah, I've got
not as many as I think you've got, but like still have a fair pile.
I mean, it was probably a good thing I stopped buying CDs, to be perfectly honest, because I just don't have the room for them.
Yeah, most of mine are stored away now.
I've got a big box down. I've got another big box down.
Thanks to the internet, it's not really a thing anymore.
I should probably just rip all of them and finally get rid of those CDs then. Which would be a bit of a...
I'm almost cagey about that though. I do like to have solid...
Yeah, this is...
That's why I'm still clinging on to DVD. Like, I really don't want it to go away because of that simple thing of like... Things like the internet is shit round by me, and it's like, I already struggle to watch like digital television because like it doesn't pick up very well in the area we're in, and it's like DVDs are kind of the thing to have. They're still really relevant, and it's like,
I mean, I'm lucky. I've never lived in a place which has dodgy internet access. But when I went out to Australia, I was when I went out to Australia, I was in an area with poor internet quality. And that was the first time in years where I've actually had to like wait for web pages to finally turn over. And I was sort of thinking, oh God.
Yeah.
There's a reason
Suddenly realise
I don't live in the countryside.
Yeah, you're just oh my God, this is hell.
I always think, oh yeah, I'd love to like live in a little cottage in a valley somewhere. I'd just love that. And then I suddenly think, no.
But with amazing internet.
I'd be miles from anywhere. There would be no corner store. I wouldn't have internet access, and TV reception would be shit.
Do you remember dial-up? Oh my God.
Oh,
God. I used to watch a page load like a line at a time.
I tell you what, I keep meaning to change my ringtone to the internet connecting... the internet connecting squeal. Actually, should we put the internet dial-up thing at the start and end of these?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Rather than the static we usually
or at least like that sort of...
or put the static
like
at
the Commodore 64 loading sound, which is very similar. It's that thing that it did. 2 hours of that, and then the game might not work at the end of it.
Yeah, it might go up syntax error.
Yeah.
God damn
You know that terrible thing we used to have the collected tapes? Like, you used to get tapes that would come on magazines. And you'd have to wind it to the exact point, but if you were like a fraction out, it would either get a piece of code from the one before and fuck it up, or it would miss a line of code off completely and fuck it up. And you wouldn't know till the end. You'd go away and make a cup of tea for like an hour and come back and it would just be like, eh.
If you were sensible, you'd do that. I'd often just sit and watch the screen.
Oh, Jesus. We're talking about the same guy who used like a filing system for his videotapes. Nerd!
The amount of summer holidays I've probably wasted waiting for Commodore 64 tapes to load. And I've got to do that again at some point, because I've got a box downstairs, another box, full of old Commodore 64 cassettes.
Yeah, I got one of those. I got like a big, like, brown cardboard box.
But I keep meaning to go through them and just see if... check the ones that will load. The ones that don't load just get binned.
A friend of mine gave them to me years ago, like when I had my Commodore. Like, he gave them to me. And like, there's so many that I haven't even played half of them, because there were just so many games.
I mean, there's a bunch of them which... you see, I've got certain instructions from my brother. He doesn't want me to throw certain ones out.
Yeah, but...
and one of them is like that mixtape. We've got one of those, which was a legendary one, which we just referred to as the mega tape.
Yeah, they always got one of those, like, which had about... Because usually you had one good game and a load of duff ones, but every now and then you get one that just had all good
shit. Yeah, but this one did have proper quality stuff. And it's got like a bit of masking tape down the side of it with just a bunch of numbers written on it. And those are all the points that you've got to fast forward it to on the cassette.
Brilliant. I have the original Star Wars Vector game.
Was that the one with the trench run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all like green vector lines. It was like the original arcade game. I have the tape version on it. It's like a black tape with a black label on it with white stars on it. And it just has the Star Wars logo in white on it. Awesome. It's probably worth at least £5.
Well, one of the boxes that I'm not allowed to get rid of, despite the fact the game I know is utter rubbish, is the Back to the Future 2 game.
Oh, yeah.
Because, when did they start putting stuff in just DVD boxes? I think it was like just after the millennium. All PC games ended up being inside.
Oh, yeah.
Just DVD case type things. Yeah. But before that, you had the massive cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
And they were all different sizes.
Yeah, and they would come with like a manual and loads of cool shit.
Yeah, but this Back to the Future 2 thing was like a black, really reinforced cardboard box. It looks really slick. It still looks really slick. And it's just got the cassette inside it. But I'm under instructions to hang on to this regardless of whether or not the tape load, simply because of this.
If the house catches fire, you're going back in for that.
Yeah. I think I got it for my birthday and I'd be quite happy to get rid of it, but...
get rid of it.
But my brother won't let me. Why don't you hang on to it? No, you can stay at your house.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to throw it.
Oh, right. There's a question on here that I feel like we have to cover.
Was there a relevant question?
Potentially. Fan art, fantast. Yeah. Any particular guilty pleasure when it comes to sci-fi movies? I'm going to have to say Flash Gordon. Although, like, guilty's not exactly, because I'm not guilty of it. I love it. I'm trying to say that, like, the 1980s Flash Gordon...
It's more, what are you ashamed to admit you own?
Yeah. I love Flash Gordon. I watched it far too many times.
Flash Gordon's such a cult film, though. I don't think anyone would No, I don't think anyone would say shame on you for owning that.
Oh, I don't know.
They'd say shame on you for owning what I own.
Good. Yeah, but I mean, it's a guilty pleasure. It's got to be something you actually watch. I mean, I've probably got quite a few films that are just terrible.
What do I watch?
I bought them because I thought they were probably good, and then went, oh dear God. Or people gave them to me. Like, I have Green Lanterns. Awful. They got given to me.
You've got it because someone gave it to you.
Yeah. I got a couple of films like that. Some of them still in the cellophane. I'm like, meh.
What sci-fi film am I guilty about? Do I feel guilty for owning that?
It's got to be something you enjoy, but everybody thinks is shit. That's how it basically works, isn't it? I don't know, Phil.
Loads of people turn their nose up at X-Men 3, but I quite enjoyed that.
Oh, wow, okay.
I didn't mind it in the slightest. I found it quite enjoyable.
Last Stand.
Yeah. I mean, I can see its flaws, and I can see what they should have done instead, but I didn't mind it. I
can't say anything because it's kind of how I feel about Batman Superman. I quite like it, and everybody says it's terrible. So, you know, maybe my guilty pleasure is that. Maybe it's that. I quite like Batman Superman. Sorry.
I think that's the only one other people slag off Predator 2 as well. They say they didn't like Predator 2.
Oh, it's a cult classic.
I know.
I can't argue with that.
I put that in the same column as I would Flash Gordon. It's a cult thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not the same kind of film, obviously, but
Not
it's cult enough to obviously be enjoyable.
It's not as good as the first one, but it's no means
I treat it as a different film.
Yeah.
I treat it as... If you watch it as a completely...
It's better than Alien vs. Predator. Jesus.
Yeah. I'll have to rewatch that. I'll have to rewatch both of them. I've got both of them.
Yeah, me and Helen rewatched it the other day because we were like, do you know what? I haven't actually watched that in ages.
Is it really ropey? Or is it just dumb?
It's a bit better than I thought it was. Yeah, it's just a bit dull.
I just felt it was
It's not that great.
Actually,
and from like a sad nerd boy point of view, I have a lot of hang-ups, like from, you know, just the aliens aren't right and things like that. I'm not going down that road.
That's kind of...
We've talked enough about it.
Yeah, but I mean... with broad strokes, that's actually probably when Alien vs Predator came out. That's probably the point, I think, where stuff started to kind of go downhill in terms of remakes. I know it's not a remake,
no,
but it's people pandering to nostalgia.
Well, it's pandering. It's fan service.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's people going, "Oh man, I love these comics that were kind of done."
Because I remember
for a bit of fun more than anything.
I remember you describing Alien vs Predator 2 as virtually cherry-picking the classic
literally
bits.
is the greatest hit.
Yeah, from the Alien film.
To the point where the bit where you hear the Marines die over the radio is actual audio from Aliens.
Is it?
Yeah, you can tell from the gunfire sounds. I'm that much of a nerd that you know, pulse rifles and smart guns are very specific audio.
So it really is a fan film.
It really is literally, you know, it's like all the best bits of it. It's like, if I want to watch Aliens, I'll watch Aliens. I have the DVD. I'll put it on. I don't need you to put it in the middle of this film for me. You know, it's just bollocks, like calling people, like one of the characters Dallas and stuff.
I don't even remember that.
And that the girl, you know, basically ends up as a pseudo Ripley character in a little vest saving a girl, and you're just like... What are you saying? Like, it's happened before and it'll happen again. It's destined to happen forever. It's like
trying to find a reason for it to exist.
Yeah, those aren't those kind of films. It's like if you were dealing with mythology, then yeah, okay, that could be an interesting concept. But it's science fiction, and how can the aliens just none of it makes any sense. It's like, how can the aliens be on Earth and exist in that time period? When Prometheus is setting up the fact they haven't even been invented yet. You know, like you've got David just creating them 1,000 years in the future. It's like, just no.
Now that I'm thinking about it, there's probably a bunch of science fiction films which I quite enjoy which got panned. Do you remember there was a film called Jumper?
Yeah, I was going to point that out. I can see it there.
Yeah, there's Jumper and what was the other one? The Postman. With Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah, Postman's notoriously shit, apparently. But you said it's quite good.
I really enjoyed it.
It's post-apocalyptic though, isn't it?
Yeah, and
so you're already 50% there.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it when I first saw it way before I played like Fallout 3 and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Growing up in Australia, you're already predestined to like anything set after a nuclear war. Hey, this looks familiar.
Yeah, when I say I lived in Australia, I lived in the green bit of Australia.
There is no green bit. I've seen TV.
This little sliver of green clinging to the edge of the Pacific, that's where I lived.
Lies, Phil. There's no green in Australia. The whole thing's a giant desert with people chasing each other around in cars, fueled on...
beer.
Yeah. Basically. I kind of always felt that though when I watched like Mad Max as a kid. I didn't really get that it was post-apocalyptic.
Oh, you just thought that was Australia.
Was like. Mel Gibson driving around in a stripped-down Corvette with a black leather jacket and a gammy leg.
Yeah, they don't put that on the Australian tourist adverts, do they? Welcome to Australia. I've got to do that now.
It's something to do with bike gangs with like mohawks and shit.
I've got to. What I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to take a clip from Mad Max.
He's the Road Warrior,
and just put across just superimpose some of the British, the Australian tourist board information. Yeah. You remember those adverts and stuff you got promoting Australia? Yeah. Just intercut one of those adverts with bits from Mad Max.
Just get the car chase from the first Mad Max film. Where they're all like crashing through stuff and all the cars are getting blown up, and just put like the dialogue or whatever over the top of it. Welcome to Australia. Great wildlife. Next.
There's got to be some sinister, or some sort of tagline which I can make sound sinister in that context.
Last of the V8 Interceptors.
So I'm not a fan of the very first Mad Max.
No, I rewatched it not long ago. Well, I say not long, a couple of years ago, and went.
Yeah. Well, it's a product of its time. It was very much like a 1970s exploitation thing.
But even the new one has buried all the others, because you go back and watch the other ones and you're like, yeah, it's not as good as this. The new one is fucking amazing, and it's just like
in terms of action.
Yeah.
There was something Kevin Smith described it as when he was watching it. And I just
it's
agree.
How you remember it.
I just agree with what he said so much. He said he was watching all the car chases and stuff, and he suddenly realized there were no responsible adults involved in the production of this film.
It's true. It's like somebody just play. It's like they videoed some 8-year-old playing with a bunch of like toy cars, and then just did it full size.
Do that full size.
This bigger.
We want people burning through the desert in half-built cars with massive poles sticking out the top of them, rocking back and forth with people attached to the top.
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
I know. Oh, God, it was just such a visual treat. And it was utterly mental.
It was you who posted up that even the mutant freak that hangs off the front of the truck playing the guitar had turned down the Donald Trump inauguration thing. You couldn't even get him.
That wasn't one of mine. I wish they got it.
It was gorgeous. It was like, can't even get that guy. Mutant gimp freak with guitar, with flamethrower guitar.
That was the most Mad Max moment.
It is. Well, the whole thing was
just where they're sort of panning across the car, the pursuit convoy, and all of a sudden you see this truck full of drums. And you think, yeah, all right, okay, there's a truck full of drums, and then it goes around the front of it, and there's this sort of this wall of speakers with this lunatic on the front of it with a guitar that shoots fire.
Such amazing. Why not?
And I'm sort of sitting there and sort of going, this is awesome!
It was literally one of the best.
This is the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
Literally one of the best films. Just non-stop amazing. This is just great. The thing is, though, it's like having rewatched some of the old ones fairly recently, you're just like, the new film is like how you remember Mad Max being, but it wasn't.
Well, I think
this is in my head what it was, and then you watch it and go, it's a bit rubbish.
I think the new one is a far more visual piece.
Yeah, definitely.
Than the previous ones. The previous ones had more of a narrative.
Did you know it's designed to be? Well, they were going to originally do it in black and white.
They released a black. They've released a black and white one. What do they call it? The Chrome version or something. They've tied it in somehow. And I'm sort of thinking, I want to get a Blu-ray player just so I can watch it in black and white.
Gorgeous. Well, you could just turn the colour off on your TV.
That's a point. Yeah.
How no one's realised this. Everyone's just like, oh man, I need to buy that version. Like brainwave.
It's not just the case of you've got to adjust the contrast and stuff as well.
Just turn the colour
visual
off.
Purist, come on.
Or you save yourself some money and get the basic idea of just desaturating it. Hey, I saved myself like 15 quid because it's more expensive on Blu-ray.
The thing is, I really love the contrast between like the red earth and the red deserts and
totally,
and the pure blue sky.
I love the look of it. Like that whole Australian kind of colour scheme is just gorgeous anyway. And that all the red dirt and everything's just... It's one of the reasons I really like Once Upon a Time in the West. Like all that whole, like...
The contrast.
The red dirt everywhere. Just everything just looks so gorgeous.
I mean, the opening shot in that Mad Max Fury Road where you first see Max stamping on that two-headed lizard, where it's just him looking out across the barren wastes and stuff. And you got land and you got the sky. And it's perfect.
And I love the way the tyres are just made out of like sheepskins and just all lashed together because they've just worn out years and years ago.
Loads of people say that Escape from Thunderdome was terrible. But I really, that's another one I'll put on the guilty pleasure list because I really quite enjoyed Escape.
I got to rewatch that Beyond the Thunderdome. I haven't watched it in years. I got all three of them because my mate gave them to me after the film came out because I think he'd either got a new box set or something. He was like, "Do you want them?" I was like, "Yeah," because I thought the only one I had was the first one, and so I need to rewatch Thunderdome. We don't need another hero. I have a story about that. When I lived over in where was it? It wasn't Hinckley. It was a little place that we lived outside of Hinckley for a bit, and they're sort of really nice, like little rented dormer bungalow. Mm-hmm. But it was like literally like a house or so away was like a massive water tower, and it had all the transmitters on top of it. So like. You couldn't tune the radio to anything other than this local radio station. Literally, you would just roll the dial and it would do nothing. It would just constantly play this
because you're bang on the transmitter.
Yeah, because you're like a foot away from the transmitter, right? So it didn't matter what you did. It's all you could pick it up. It didn't matter what it was tuned into. It was just picking it up. And the guy who did the morning show had this sort of obsession for 80s movies, which sounds great, right? On paper, sounds great.
Well, there's only a finite number of 80s movies.
Yeah, but like, he would literally play 2 songs from 80s films.
Oh.
I can't remember the one now, but the one was the Tina Turner song from Thunderdome.
Oh.
And you'd literally get it at least like once a day. You'd either get that or the other one. And it was like living in fucking Groundhog Day. Because you wake up to the same song every day. You're like, are you kidding me? Again? Tina Turner. Oh, it was that, or I think it was Huey Lewis and the News from Back to the Future. Which is cool, but not when you've heard it like 3,000 times. Like, I know this word for word now.
Oh, no.
Don't need money, don't take fame. Shut the fuck up!
It's like, yes, you do!
Yeah, you really do! So you can move away from here and stop listening to this song. Oh, God!